All right, this is also key information. So please, if you have any questions, as I explain, stop me, let me know. So now we talked about EPRG. Now there are other ways. There's another way that as companies decide to become multinational, operate in other countries, that they could do this. You have what is called multinational. This is mostly multi-domestic, but some questions could say multinational. Then you have global, you have international, and you have transnational. With multi-domestic or multinational, what you have is this company are saying that in our operations in different countries, we want to have local responsiveness. So we want to make sure that those foreign subsidiaries, they are able to operate autonomously, like they are able to operate independently from the headquarters, from the home country. So the firm can quickly sense and respond to local needs. Now, there are countries where McDonald's operates and does not sell beef because that's not the culture. The culture of those countries is not to eat beef. So what McDonald's did when they went to those other countries is to sell more of like plant beef or veggie beef or things like that. What they did was to respond to the local needs of that place. They operated a multi-domestic strategy. Now with the global, that's the opposite. Global is saying we want global efficiency. So we're going to closely manage our subsidiaries from the headquarters. This is kind of similar to what you have with ethnocentric. This is similar to what you have with polycentric. So we want to closely manage our subsidiaries from the headquarters. We want to have a global standardization. The way we create things back home is the same way we want it to be done in those other subsidiaries. So, and that way we're able to have economies of scale because we're not changing anything. The same thing I sell here is the same thing I sell there. So my factories do not have to change. My technology does not have to change. I could produce those same things at a global scale, and I have centralized control of the worldwide operations. Now I'm going to go to transnational before international. Now with transnational, we're trying to combine both. We're trying to combine global and multinational. The advantages of those two are really good. We want both. So global efficiency as well as local responsiveness and high innovativeness. That's transnational. So we want to integrate. We still want to have global activities. So let's say what we create, we still want to make sure that's the same thing we create in terms of production and operations. But in terms of marketing and sales in these foreign subsidiaries, we're going to market and do all the sales in line with the culture of those countries. For a good example is Coke. Coca-Cola is the same or should be the same around the world. But what happens is that in other countries, sometimes you see that the wrappings is written in that language or is celebrating a culture of those people or that ethnicity or things like that. And you may not have the same marketing and sales of Coca-Cola like you have in the United States, also happening in China. But when you open that bottle, it's the same product. So that's a transnational strategy. With international, what you have is we don't want to bother ourselves with all this having subsidiaries and things like that. We just want to have an exporting strategy. So you see how it says you have foreign subsidiaries operate autonomously, but are critically dependent on the headquarters for new processes, new products, and know-how. This is how to explain this best. They have an exporting strategy. A good example is in France. There's a lot of winemakers. They just want to export their wine. They're not looking at starting a subsidiary and managers and all those things. So they usually have warehouses. So you have a warehouse where they are in all these different countries and you store that wine there. And maybe you have a couple of people that make sure that it's being sold in retail chains, but you're not looking at doing all those subsidiaries, local responsiveness, global. You just want to export your products. So that's how to understand this for. And then this gives examples. That's why I like it. So with global strategy, the example here is Texas Instruments. They make calculators. So with calculators, we were not looking at making the calculator conform to its math. We're not looking at making it conform to the culture or the language or anything. It's the same Texas Instruments. We will have subsidiaries in the same place doing it exactly how we do it in the home country. And we're selling our calculators, no change in product or anything like that. We're able to have economies of scale because it's the same item, standardized product, and that's it. Now you have the multi-domestic here. And like I said, example will be McDonald's, Hands, the Body Shop. So those type of things that have to do with food, with skincare and things like that, you have to take into cognizance the local culture, local responsiveness. So they usually have independent franchises or independent subsidiaries or things like that. They are able to model their business to the local culture. They are locally responsive. And then you have transnational. You have Coca-Cola here, you have Nestle here. It's still the same Coke and everything, but the way it's marketed and sold and all of that could be adapted to that culture. We have international strategy, and like I said, it talks about US Steel, Harley Davidson, and also like the French wine companies. They just want to export those products. They're not looking at too much of building subsidiaries. They might have like warehouses here and there with a few people, but that's about it.